Hello everyone, it's Cleo here, and today we're going to be talking about why MLP G5 just isn't working. This year, My Little Pony as a franchise has turned 40 years old. In the past 4 decades, it has proven to be a huge success. The original toy line ran for 10 years and had a movie, and then 2 seasons of the first My Little Pony cartoon, and another series called My Little Pony Tales to support it. After this first wave of popularity presumably started to peter out, they revived it with what is now known as Generation 2 of MLP. This proved to be a big fat flop in the US, so after much less time the franchise was revived yet again with what we call Generation 3. This had several direct-to-video special cartoons which lacked any sort of depth or even a feeling that anybody wanted to make them. After a few years of this middling success, however, the folks at Hasbro decided that their next reboot for ponies should have a quality television tie-in to create interest in the toys in the same way that the live-action Transformers film revitalized that franchise. Luckily for Hasbro, the stars aligned. They found the right people for the job, and their initial idea of expanding My Little Pony to appeal to a broader audience than before worked better than anyone could have anticipated. At the peak of its popularity, during the era of Generation 4, the franchise brought Hasbro a staggering $1 billion a year. And we all know this is because of the cartoon's popularity. Ignoring the unexpected adult male fanbase, the show resonated so much more with the target demographic than previous incarnations of the brand, and definitely more so than other similar shows at the time. The developer for the show put it well when she said that the previous ponies in cartoons just had endless tea parties, giggled over nothing, and defeated villains by either sharing with them or crying. Instead of repeating this, she wanted to show that cartoons for girls don't have to be a puddle of smushy, cutesy-wootsy, goody two-shoeness. The popularity of this new version of ponies proved to be the biggest hit of all generations, but just like the initial run in the 80s, all good things have to come to an end. One way or another, things dry up for shows and toy lines. Luckily for Hasbro, though, they have years and years of trial and error behind them, so rebooting My Little Pony again and launching it to success should be another day at the office, right? Well, maybe not. With the G4 cartoon being so popular and relatively deep in story, and the G5 movie and shows coming so soon after, naturally people instantly compared the new one to Friendship is Magic, hoping that it at least matched it in quality and depth. Sadly, the fact of the matter is that it doesn't match either of those things. Starting with the movie, let's break down why this is. My Little Pony: A New Generation is a very beautifully animated film with higher production values than ever seen before in MLP animation. It's pretty, polished, and exactly what you'd think a 2020s version of this franchise should look like. There is not a single problem with its looks. The first hurdle the development team fell at was deciding to make this film, and consequently this universe, a sequel to G4. On the face of it, this makes sense, because the G4 fanbase is still alive and well in a lot of ways, and people like to see a link to that. The problem is that by the end of the run of Friendship is Magic, there was so much lore built up that only the biggest of fanatics would know everything. For this reason, so as to not put off new fans, they slimmed down the lore to be a very simple and very distant backstory of Twilight and her friends being buddies and saving the day, and that's about it. The issue this creates, of course, is that technically the rules of the universe, such as the Pegasus ponies being in control of the weather, shouldn't have changed, but they clearly have. This disconnection from G4, combined with its converse reliance on it, has left it stuck in a storytelling limbo, where it can go neither backwards nor forwards in any meaningful or interesting way. With rebooting My Little Pony, it should have been that anything felt possible, but with this move, they've left themselves in a sort of check with nowhere to go. All this being said, the 2021 film manages to be entertaining, even in its very limited bubble of mobility. Even if we don't have a new world to explore, we at least have new characters. They should be able to focus the subsequent media on their development and interactions, right? Well, kind of. Just not very well. The YouTube shorts that came out under the subtitle of Tell Your Tale are shallow and not very cleverly written. They're okay, given their short runtime and very obvious lack of budget. I know the scope of the stories can't be grand with just 5 minutes of runtime for each short, but that doesn't excuse how out of character these three are. Izzy and Hitch's new voice actors in particular don't sound like their original actors at all. All this shouldn't even be a point in the first place, as these brief webisodes are a weak format to say the least, that I feel have no staying power in people's hearts or imaginations, both of which you need to inspire people to want to buy the toys you're selling. What we believe will be the main series, called Make Your Mark, hasn't come out yet, but the short film to start the series has been released, and, in an unbelievable U-turn, with the story, they have basically gone back to being a puddle of smushy cutesy wootsy goody two-shooters. I've already explained in another video why this film is so poor, some might even say it tore it to shreds, but it's hard not to, when you see a franchise so clearly going backwards. It's shallow, boring, and uninspired. Some children may enjoy it because it's a cartoon, and some die-hard fans might enjoy it because it's their fandom. But it just objectively is not even close to being as good as the comparable Season 2 opening of Friendship is Magic. A lot of people in my comments tried to argue that this level of writing is somehow unattainable for G5, and we should just be happy with what we have now. But there's really no reason to revert right back to being exactly what they said they wanted to move away from all the way back in 2007 when G4 was being developed. The stories in G4 were not Shakespeare. They didn't invent or define anything. They were just well thought out with strong and distinct characters. And most importantly, a clear vision of what it wanted to be and why. G5 doesn't know what it wants to be. Very clearly, it just wants to be popular like G4. But by only aspiring to be popular like the thing that came before it, it is doomed to live in its shadow. The only way it can equal its predecessor is by paying attention to what made G4 resonate with so many people in the first place. Girls' films and series deserve to be treated with respect enough to recognise they are worthy of having attention paid to the story content and the characters' depth. No one can promise their work will be excellent, but they can promise to try their best, and it's my opinion that this is not anyone trying their best. Call me a couch critic if you will, but I would love nothing more than to develop my own version of this story for MLP. If Hasbro ever wants my help for G6, they know where to find me. But as always, I'd love to know what you think. Let me know in the comments below what your opinion on G5 is and what you think works and what you think doesn't work. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.